So, I've heard quite a bit lately of people going, why should we pay our taxes? Why should we pay our taxes? Stuff like that. Complaining about, look at all these poor people on the streets. They're all sucking away our money. Meanwhile, that's not where the money's going. Think about the bailout of the airports. Think about those stimulus checks going out. The homeless people living on the streets weren't allowed to get a stimulus check. They had no mailing address. They had a lot of difficulty collecting. I've still heard of some people who are homeless, no IDs, that never collected a stimulus check and are still trying after it's too late. Meanwhile, I've also heard of wealthy individuals who are driving Teslas, collecting 3 checks, wiping out the food pantries and waiting in line. So why is it important that we invest in things like nationwide health care or a good social security system, or if somebody's disabled, making sure that they can get back to work or live inside? Why are these things important? Well, it lowers crime for one. Most crime is just people trying to pay their bills, something they don't really talk about on the numbers. Yes, most people who turn to robbing, stealing, sometimes it's drugs. Yes, I've seen hookers that do anything for their drugs. But when it comes to males, most of the males I see committing big crimes are trying to pay their bills. They're trying to come up with $3,000 overnight to pay their landlord. They need to get a place to live because they just were thrown out and they just moved into the shelter 3 days ago. So they're looking for a big score, and then they're going to go to New York and get an apartment in another state. This is a big problem. Well, these people are willing to work. They're willing to help. They just need to pay. They need a decent wage. The problem is, if they get a job, they'll be fired before they have enough money because they're all not shaven, they stink, they don't have a place to live, shit like that. They don't have an address ID, whatever. So it becomes problematic to get another apartment because they need a job to get an apartment, but they need an apartment to get a job. And yet when they move into the shelter, both are burned down because jobs don't like hiring people with a shelter address, and lots of landlords don't like giving apartments out to people with shelter addresses. But it gets even bigger than that. I have an 84-year-old. I am out of work injured. I am having trouble getting off this toilet. That's why I have this cane. Kind of stuck. But for the last couple weeks, I've been stuck looking at poop. See that poop there? See that poop there? That's from his colostomy bag. Now, does he have laundry money? Could he wash that? Absolutely. Is it hard for him to get to the machine? No, there's a machine right downstairs. So why, oh why? Because he won't give me his laundry quarters to do it for him. He doesn't want to do it. So he's going to leave poop dripping all over the place, all over the sink I use, all over the floor I use, and just let it smell and rot. Even though he does have laundry quarters, he's spending them on cigarettes. Even though he does have the ability, he does not have much money. The money he's spending, the laundry quarters he has, are taken from his rent, and he's in trouble for that. But he makes $1,400, and he's only worked light jobs, and most of his life he's spent out of work. But he's 84, and he has spent 60 years off and on the workforce. But why is it important to keep these people healthy? Why do I give a fuck if this old man throws his poop all around town, gets it on doorknobs, spills his poop in market baskets, spills it all over a house, gets other people sick? Why is that a big deal? Because all of our health is one big organism today. If a guy in China gets some new flu, before you know it, it's in your backyard. If some homeless guy gets a new infection in a hospital and it spreads throughout the hospital and you're in the next room, then it's you. If a person can't get health care and they have a new flu, but they don't go to the hospital to get it checked and they're walking from town to town, spreading it around, then that's going to come to your door. As far as it comes to health care, we are all one healthy organism. All of the United States and other countries are all intertwined with planes, automobiles, trains, people moving around. So one homeless person with a new version flu can get to the richest person at the top, Trump. So if Trump makes decisions that stop people from getting health care, then people like Trump are the ones going to be paying the price, and the people at the bottom are the ones going to be dying. So it's very important we look at healthcare as one large organism. If you don't want to pay for healthcare, you're only harming your own rich children. You might be thinking you're turning it off on the homeless people, and that's only going to affect the homeless people. But if you don't give the homeless people healthcare, good healthcare, then that's going to come back to bite you, the rich guy, in the ass. And that's why it's so important we invest in healthcare, no matter if people are taking advantage of it or not. If some people are taking advantage of this new free healthcare system, well, great. That's what checks and balances are for. Let's make sure we got checks and balances so rich people with lawyers aren't doing that either. Nobody should be doing that. If a homeless person can get away with it, well, great. Then we're going to see it. Because they don't got lawyers to hide. They don't got a house to hide. They don't know how to do paperwork. So it'll be right in the open. We'll see what's going on. We can put checks and balances in place, and we move forward. And then we're able to get all the rich assholes of lawyers doing it in a sneaky way, so nobody's taking advantage. Because right now we're allowing the wealthy individuals to take advantage of the system. I know several very rich white kids who have rich daddies that are on Social Security and insurance from the state only because they have a rich daddy, not because they're disabled. That's what the paperwork says. I have anxiety and I'm disabled. But the truth is they have a great lawyer, they got lots of money, and they were pushing this through the state that could not fight back. Meanwhile, a guy missing a foot with diabetes, working over 40 hours a week, falling down and going in the hospital for 3 months, and then working overtime to pay his bills so he doesn't get thrown out, that guy ends up dying, ends up being in the hospital for a year, and then they release him to go live in the woods or a shelter if he's lucky and if his injuries are documented. Why? Why, well, some rich white kid who can work just decides it's not worth him applying because it gives him anxiety? Oh, when I fill out an application, my heart goes ba-bump, ba-bump, ba-bump. So I need Social Security for the rest of my life. Well, everybody gets anxiety on an interview and filling out applications. Come on. Did you fall down on the ground? Did an ambulance pick you up? Did you have a heart attack like I did? Did you end up getting bloodied up? Did you end up falling on the way to work and ending up there for 4 hours? Did you end up ripping and bleeding internally from taking out some trash? No? You're just anxious? And your daddy's rich and has a good lawyer. Well, if we really want to complain about anything, it's not the homeless people at the bottom using these benefits. It's the rich people or the people at the middle abusing them in the wrong way. If you want Social Security for your child, then your child must be falling down, not able to speak, in a wheelchair, having problems moving their body, having multiple mental illnesses that are keeping that kid from actually completing things. And he should always be the problematic kid in every program he goes to, not the goody two-shoes kid. But yet, we try to make out these rich white kids that have rich daddies as the problem. While all these really hardworking, really smart kids at the bottom, really poor kids that are actually extremely intelligent, they just go to prison. They got a nice, do not pass go straight down the prison because you turned 19 and you're poor. You were walking down the wrong street at the wrong time, and you weren't wearing an expensive polo with $200 pants and driving a nice car. Instead, you were driving a shit bucket that was rusty. You were wearing a hoodie and some jeans. So they think you're some gangbanger kid because you buy your clothes at Salvation Army. That's the society we live in today. Anybody without money who goes in the shelter is automatically labeled a drug addict, even if they've never done a drug in their life. Look at Angly Beth. She has never done a drug in her life, as goody two-shoes as they come, but because she has a horrible father who used her and made her disabled for money, and she has to live her life outside in shelters, homeless, getting thrown out of place to place, and the only money she'll ever get is her Social Security, which other people decide to control and basically enrich themselves, and then throw her out as they use her check. Oh, well, we're going to throw her out for 30 days, but we're going to keep the Social Security for 30 days. Well, are you holding, does she get it back when she comes back? No. That pays my rent. She's 37 years old. Pay your own goddamn rent. You're in your 50s. You're 59 years old. She's 37, or maybe, yeah, you're 59. She's 37. You pay your own goddamn rent. And she gets to keep that money because she's saving up in an apartment to get the fuck away from you. But these people don't speak English, so that the doctors in the state take advantage of them. Yes, they came from Cambodia with a little baby, and the father and mother decided we'll just burn and break the baby. We'll pop the eye out of the socket. We'll burn her a little. We won't teach her any English. And by the time she learns English, she'll be 11, 12 years old. By then, she's already in hospitals, being drugged up, beaten by her father, already on Social Security, and her father's depending on the check to keep her apartment paid. And because he's living at the bottom, his rent is skyrocketing, so the father starts working and collecting a check, and it's still not enough, because his wife stays home. The wives don't work in that house. Yes, they don't speak any English, the wife, and they stay home and take care of the home. So you got a father trying to keep up at the bottom, and he decides the best way to do that is by damaging his daughter. Fucked up shit. But the same thing happened to me. Same thing happens to a lot of kids in Massachusetts. It's quite common today. And somebody needs to put a stop to it before there's a whole army of disabled people just created so that wealthy, well-off people can make a little more money. That's fucked up. But that's what happens when you got rich people taking care of the system. It's not the poor people that are getting these benefits. It's not the poor people taking these large doses of money. It's the airports. It's the rich people getting all this nice little stimulus money. A poor person who has no address and no place to live, he doesn't get shit for benefits. He's lucky if he gets state health care. But the guy at the top, he's already collected 3 stimulus checks. He's already got a bailout. He got a tax write-off. And on top of that, he got medical leave that he's already abused. He says he got the flu, but really he got no paperwork on it. And yet he just went on vacation while he said he had the flu. So that guy is abusing all the systems at his reach. Meanwhile, the guy at the bottom can't even get a broken leg fixed. So it's not the people at the bottom you got to worry about. I know that that's what the Republicans want you to think, and I know you hear it on the news. Oh, there's too much money at the bottom. There's too much money at the bottom. But that's never been the case. Even think of Ronald Reagan's trickle down. That was originally supposed to be trickle up, where they pumped money where it was needed at the bottom to build housing at the bottom and things like that. And then the money would make its way up. What's obvious, the money would go to the poor person, then go to the landlord, then go to the bank. It would go to the poor person, then the grocery store, then the rich corporation. No matter what, the money would go at the bottom and make it to the top. But instead, the rich people said, no, let's do trickle down. Let's give all this money to the people who are already rich, and then we'll donate some money to the bottom. It'll make its way to the bottom. It will. And it never did, because there's no need. The people at the top don't need to build small, low-income housing. That's not a need. But see, the people at the bottom need to pay their rent, and they need a place to live. They need food, so they're going to spend the money with food. But see, the rich people already got food. They already got housing, so they're going to build these large, giant housing developments that make them lots of money, because the only thing the rich people need is to double their money. Oh, this year I need to double my money. Next year I need to double my money. The year after that I need to double my money. It's never, I need to save the environment. I need to help the people at the bottom. No. It's the people who have millions of billions of dollars only think of one need. How can I double my profits?